It's not over until I win. You are listening to ECR Radio, and this is Breaking Boundaries, the show where we explore issues related to current affairs and popular culture, behavior psychology, and relationship dynamics. Glad that you could join me this afternoon for a heartfelt conversation. Family, we need to talk. It's good, as the BT advert would say, it's good to talk. But we, as you know, I always try to encourage you and remind you about joining the Breaking Boundaries Facebook group, or joining me on the social media handles Instagram, TikTok, or even X. Don't use it that much, but I definitely update it. And you can get me on either or any of those platforms on Hugh Mayers, HUGHMAYERS. And I'm going to request that you politely do me a favor. It's a freebie. It's to take that ECR link and send it to 3, 4, 5 of your contacts, how many you like. But just send it out, because we're going to have a hot one this afternoon. And you want to share. When there's something good you like, it's always good to share. What do they say? Sharing is caring. So yeah, just hit the WhatsApp and send that out to the fam, and that will be also appreciated.
Disclaimer. Topics addressed in today's program may deal with sensitive issues. For example, struggles with mental health, structural racism, sexual behavior, or politically polarizing themes. Listener discretion is advised. The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers, commentators, experts, guests, or host. They do not explicitly or necessarily reflect the channel's policy or founding principles. ECR cannot be held accountable for all or any views expressed. Breaking Boundaries Talk Show with your host, Hugh Mayers. Sometimes controversial, often provocative, but always informative. You can call in to ask a question or share your opinion on 0782 611 5543.
Wow, there is so much to catch up on this week. I don't even know where to begin. There's a racist content creator called Chud the Builder from Tennessee. And he caught my attention. My son just sent me a crazy WhatsApp message. But this guy is like seriously racist. He would go and say the N-word to black people in different spaces, and then say when they was losing their temper, I've got my arm on me, I've got my thing on me, and if you cross the line, I'm gonna do what I have to do, in so many words. And he was talk to people and say you're chimping out and whatever, and using phrases like that, and just some really inflammatory racist language. I didn't know how long that was going to last for, because he's really pushing the boat out. But obviously he's in a place like Tennessee, Duppy know who to frighten. He picked his location. He didn't do it in inner city on the west side of Chicago, or the east side of Chicago, or somewhere like that, or in Compton. But it's like somewhere in Tennessee, some random place, right? Or not random, probably chosen for that reason, where many of the people that he would be accosting, generally would have a different sort of temperament. But anyway, he's gone wrong. He's injured somebody. He claims in self-defense, and injured himself as well. And so he is looking at an attempted M charge, as a man then would say. He's looking at an attempted murder charge. And self-defense is, in that state, I believe one legal expert was saying, it is impacted by the context of the circumstances of the act of violence. So in other words, he read some statute or some accompanying information on the statute, which says that if you provoke a person and then they lose their cool and come at you, self-defense in that situation is compromised. So it's looking not great for Chud the Builder. Crazy. I don't know. I mean, what people do to get likes is one thing, but that's taken it to the next level. He was literally risking his neck, and you know what? Nobody got seriously. Well, somebody did get seriously hurt, but not a fatality. But yeah, for crying out loud, come on, man, what we doing? What we doing, Chud? Goddamn Chud. But anyway, yeah. So that was some disturbing, but almost comforting news that this man will face justice. Definitely comforting that he will face justice, because it was just so horrible. He's bad people, man. He's bad people. And on this side of the pond, you know, we've had some political activities and demonstrations in the capital over the weekend. You know, we've had a pro-Palestine family out, and we've had the far right, and some just a little bit less far than right, and some a little bit more closer, moving towards the center right. But all different strands of the right wing were out. You know what I mean? From the moderate to the hardcore. But they were out in London. I was going to say in numbers, but quite disappointing numbers from what reports suggest. As I say disappointing as in, you know, they thought it was going to get like 250,000, but I don't know if it was something like 50,000 people. But still they got people turning up. But let's get back to recent politics this week. So Reform have taken some victories in local by-elections over the week. Shocked the nation, shook the place up. The Greens did their thing as well. Labour and Conservative, the two big major parties were struggling or you know, seen as struggling in the elections. And who remembers there's a party that's called the Liberal Democrats? Because it's like the media don't remember them. Like if somebody could tell me without Googling, don't use Google, but if somebody could tell me who is the head of the Liberal Democrats, I got a prize for you, because they are just written out of any story. That man or woman, if they start a fight in a high street or whatever they do, they can't get a headline. They can't get a soundbite. That's always been the way with the Liberal Democrats. That third party, man. It's like they don't really exist. But yeah, Reform been winning seats, and a local Reform politician by the name of Glenn Gibbons, you know, he was recently elected to office to represent, is it Hilton Castle, right, in Sunderland. So up north, as we say, right, up north, right? But he's been suspended, right? Gibbons has been accused of posting racist comments. They were back in 2024, mind you. So, I mean, it's old, isn't it? That's in the past. But if you didn't know, it was something along the lines of suggesting that the Nigerian population, shout out to Olakemi Badenoch, Olakemi Unfutu, right? Shout her out, and the squad, right? But the quote reads that the Nigerian population in Sunderland should be melted down to fill potholes. It was a post of that nature. So the Reform Party the seniors will be looking into that, because they you know, quite possibly he went a little bit too far on that one. And slippery as Nigel Farage is, not Farage, but Farage, it's gonna be difficult for them to wriggle out of that one. So dude might have to really have some accountability for his vile statements if it is after the investigation. But it's been proved. It's been proved. The live link is not open just yet, but we will be opening a live link after the break. Yes. So Gibbons is going to have to face like some sort of internal investigation, because, you know, I mean, come on. There's a limit, isn't it? There's a limit. I mean, we live in a time where we might have doubts and questions about what actually constitute racism, but come on, you know what I mean. Come on, like, let's not be crazy now. That's flipping hell. So if we in the black community, the we being us in the black community, if we thought that the people that are in reform or people that raise a flag, that they might have prejudice, but it's more directed to the brown people and brown people of a particular faith group, we might be kidding ourselves. We might be a little bit delulu. We might be a little bit delusional. But yeah, there's been things going on in the world of popular culture. There's recently been a Netflix roast that's come out. The Kevin Hart roast has been causing a lot of interest. Partly because of Cat Williams. Obviously, Cat Williams and Kevin Hart have had a long-standing back and forth feud. And Cat has not been so flattering. I think that from what I've seen in the public eye in terms of their comments, Cat has been the one that has been on smoke, and Kevin has been the one that has been more like, we don't really need to tear each other down. And I don't know what's wrong with his brother. I've, created situations or seen situations where you was your own self-saboteur, and Cat has denied that flat out and has been like roasting Kevin Hart or lighting him up differently. However, he did attend the roast. And sometimes some of them jokes didn't really sound like jokes when I was listening to what Cat Williams was saying and stuff like that. When he started out by saying, some of you are shocked to see me here, but listen, I came here for the money. I wouldn't doubt there was a level of truth in that. Like, he ain't no fan of Kevin, right? But what was good, what was powerful, it was after the roast, right? Was that Kevin Hart was magnanimous enough to say, listen, I want to be a friend, I want to be a brother, I want to move past the disagreements, and they shook hands and had an embrace. And I think that's always good to see when you brothers making peace, calling a truce, like it's a good look, even if it's just for example, because these actors and musicians and black people in the public eye, they do have cultural currency. They do have like some, maybe more than activists and spokespeople and the hardcore activists, right? They do sway influence over the black community in terms of temperature and vibe and trends and things of that nature. So when I see things like that, it means something. So I must admit, I did check for that. That was like big man things, grown way of, mature way of dealing with stuff. So they ended their beef. But there was a guy called Tony Hinchcliffe, should I say, Tony Hinchcliffe, who, they were making some of the jokes in the roast. I mean, I'm not really a fan of the whole roast thing, right? But there's an idea that the person that's famous goes up there and you just crack jokes, you stick it on them, and you crack one set of jokes on the person in question, and they could be below the belt. The whole point is that it's a roast, so you're not supposed to take it serious. So they could be personal, they could be vindictive, they could be seen as, a bit dark, like mentioning people in the person's family and all sorts of stuff. But it's all in good fun because we're all comics, so we can all take a joke. The bit about Tony Hinchfield's roast, what had me, I don't know if the right word is bamboozled, is the fact that he made jokes that were like of a racial nature that didn't seem to be directed at Kevin Hart, but were more. Was he roasting the Black American or just black people in general? Like it was a bit strange. It had me a little bit confused.
Tony Hinch. Sure, he lost his gig hosting the Academy Awards because of some homophobic tweets, but you'd be homophobic too if you were eye level with everyone's talk. He got into a fist fight on a private plane, proof that no matter how much money black people have, they're still just gonna act like ninjas. This fight. Like Bill Cosby, Hart is a black comedian from Philadelphia, and like Bill Cosby, women don't know when Kevin is inside of them. You've done good, though, Kevin. The black community is so proud of you. Right now, George Floyd is looking up at us all, laughing so hard that he can't breathe.
Now, for some people of a sensitive nature, I didn't give out I gave out a warning at the start of the show, so there's no more trigger warnings from henceforth. But yeah, that one about the ninjas and black people, it wasn't and Kevin, it was like and black people. I'm like, oh, okay, so that's how they're doing the roast thing then, yeah? Then the George Floyd one was like, oh, okay, that's how they're doing it. Like, so it's nothing to do with Kevin. It's a joke about George Floyd. So I was thinking, that would be interesting if some comedian were to pick another group. I mean, Dave Chappelle caused a lot of stir by speaking about, making a few trans jokes here and there. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if other minorities or other groups, protected groups, you could crack jokes like that and it would be fine and dandy. Because I remember that the whole and Hinchcliffe mentions that Kevin was removed from presenting the Oscars because he made a joke, ha ha he, about his son and what he would do, or his son did a certain action and he thought his son was gay. So if it was just comedy, why did he get moved off the Oscars? Like, I'm confused, man. I'm confused. But it is always food for thought when we see double standards. Life is fraught with double standards, right? And contradictions. And, like, it happens. We're human, right? And we make errors and stuff like that, right? And there are always double standards in society, and that's the nature of things. But it does, like, tell you something when you find out who you can insult, who you can't insult, what groups are just off the table, what's said, and then, oh, nah, man, we're just pushing the envelope. Oh, we just being funny, man. This is jokes, man. This is just comedy. Yeah, very, very. What Eddie Murphy used to say, very interesting. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I didn't really get that George Floyd joke, but as in, like, was that supposed to be towards Kevin, right? Or yeah, was that more about was that more about black people in general? And then check this out, another comedian, Tiffany Haddish.
If you want to understand how things work, especially these days.
My bad. Back on track. Black on track.
I'm good. What up, girl? You look so good. Do you have like 30 seconds to chat really quick?
Yeah.
So, talking about Kevin Hart roast, right?
Yes, it was so much fun.
So, Lonnie Love didn't think so. Lonnie Love was like, you know what? It's exhausting. It's edgy. Specifically about the George Floyd joke. What are you thinking? Is it just comedy? Should they have been a little less...
I think it should have been shorter. The show was too long.
Okay.
I mean, I was sitting there the whole time. I had to pee. I didn't hear the George Floyd joke.
I didn't hear the George Floyd. It should have been shorter. That's not what the woman asked, You see, this is what media training can do for you, though. It's an asset, yeah. She's not a comedian no more now. She turned politician.
The show was too long.
Okay.
I mean, I was sitting there the whole time. I had to pee. I didn't hear the George Floyd joke because I had to pee so bad.
So you went to the bathroom with
I was a glorified seat filler, and I was tired.
Well, also, I mean, Lonnie and other people were like, oh, maybe it was a little too racially motivated. What do you think as far as, like, the jokes? Is this just comedy? Or are people taking it too seriously?
Is this all comedians saying it that wasn't invited?
Thanks, Miss Haddish. Ciao.
Okay, so it's the comedians that were not invited that had ill intent and can't take a joke. Okay, all right, okay. Well, maybe that's a good thing about the comedian. If you think about it, Hinchcliffe's roast has now opened the door, right? For the likes of Dave Chappelle or others to go harder in the paint and push the envelope even further. So maybe overall it's a great thing for free speech. And we have to admit one thing, right? If you believe in free speech, then you do have to believe in sometimes you're going to hear stuff that you don't like, but you need to appreciate the person's right to say it, even if it is to offend, right? But there's always a consequence and there's always a price. Freedom ain't free. Yeah, so I was thinking to myself, our roast about making fun of the individual person or as a symbol of standing in for institutional racism or a fight against institutional racism? Is that included in the roast? But hence, George Floyd, he's not known as a hero, but we know there's a politics around his death and the murder conviction, and so, and in the context of it being institutionally racist and the way that law enforcement treats black men in places like North America and the UK, and that's why it was internationalized. It wasn't just a black American thing. People were marching in Palestine, people were marching in different parts of Asia and for Africa and different parts of the world, right? We even have our own Black Lives Matter organization in the UK, right? That were quite prominent around that time after the death of George Floyd. So it tapped into, anti-racist or anti-black racist sentiments and resistance, should I say, right, around the world. So is that on the table? So is that I don't know, is that all right for making jokes about the slave trade? Is it all right to make jokes about the Holocaust now and things of that nature? Like, what's off the table? Or different genocides? Are we doing that now as well? I mean, it is pushing the envelope, but it's going to be interesting to see where this goes, And there's a little bit of food for thought related to that as well, because people are criticizing Kevin Hart because they're saying, listen, if you watch him through the roast, that he's just basically skidding his teeth. And it's a moot point because he's at work. That's his job. That's what they do, is comedy. And as Kevin said himself, the assignment was to roast. And people were on the job. People did a great job. He ain't got no problem with it. It sits good with him. So, yeah. It'd be interesting to get your feedback when I do open the phone line after the break. Was that in order? Like, is it too far? Is there not? Comedy's comedy. And the idea of the roast, though. Is the roast my opportunity to say things about you that I don't like? Or like if you're a Jewish guy that I don't, that I know as a mate, and I go to roast you, or is it like I can light up Jews in general? Or is it, no, it's supposed to be my jokes are supposed to against you? If you're a homosexual and I'm at the roast to roast you, is it my jokes directed at you as a member of that minority, sexual minority? Or is it like, now is the time to just light up the whole LGBTQ XY community, etc., etc., etc. It's food for thought, right? Because, yeah, with free speech, when they say with great power comes great responsibility. But yeah, it's an interesting thought. And I got these questions. I don't always have the answer, but I definitely got questions for you. So after the break, we're going to take a little bit of a look at the Uniting the Kingdom, raising the flag, raising the colors, right? And so forth, right? We're gonna have a look at that because there was two big marches in London yesterday. The pro-Palestine march, but also the raising of the colors flag. And we're trying to unpack what does that mean to black people, because there were a lot of black people on that march, and I'm trying to understand, like, outside of going as a journalist, is there something that I'm missing?
No.
What are you saying, D? What are you saying? You're hot off the press today. You're hot off the press.
And I literally, when I tried you earlier, oh God, I had time. I don't have time now. This is like a real quickie.
All right.
So I think I heard you say, who's the leader of the Liberal Democrats? It said Daisy, so I hope I get a prize.
Yeah, definitely you got a prize on the way. I hope he didn't Google that though. But yeah, there's a prize in the post. Don't worry. I got you.
I'll send you my address. Number two. Quickly. The Alan, what's his name? Kevin Hart roast.
Yes.
I had it on, and I forced myself to listen to it. I thought it was just because I personally love comedy. But that one, I did not feel comfortable with the things I heard them saying, and I kept watching the way the camera panned into the audience, and black people were laughing,
Mm-hmm.
So many of them. And there's one in particular, I don't know which is the guy who came on at first, a very tall guy. I think he said was an NBA footballer. It might be him, or it might be the guy who wore the red Eddie Murphy outfit.
Oh, the bald-headed guy. Yes.
Right, yes. And something, do you remember when they said they likened Kevin Hart to a bonsai plant? Do you remember that bit?
You know what? I don't.
Because it's so small, it'd be easy to hang him.
Yeah, I do remember something with that nature. There was some wild jokes just being thrown out that were like very. Yeah, that was the only bit of pushing the boundary was the racial element. Like, this is the time to defame black people or something.
Me. I had found that I did not have a sense of humour. I didn't like it at all. And I was listening to, I'll send it to you. You may have already seen. Also black American British comedian who's living in America.
The young lady called Joyce. Is her name Joyce?
No. British comedian living in America. Oh my God, how can I forget her name?
Nigerian sister, right?
Yes.
I just can't remember her name either. I can't remember her name. Gina.
I will send you her breakdown of it. She discussed it.
Yeah.
But I'll send it to you to listen to it. Yeah. So I didn't find it entertaining. But the amount of people I've seen online on the various WhatsApp groups who are saying it was so funny, it was so good, we're seeing something different. Yes, that's me. And finally, as for yesterday's marches, I could not believe the amount of black people that were in attendance.
Hey, that had me confused. There was even there were speakers on the stage. There were black people was everywhere, fully part of it.
Yes, they were. So I can't stop. I just wanted to share that very quickly.
No, appreciate that, Queen. Appreciate that.
To listen to what everyone else has to say, but nice one.
Yeah, all right then. And it's in the price is in the post. The price is in the post. Yeah.
All right.
Peace.
Have a good day.
Peace. You too. Peace.
Take care.